Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soundtrack Scores podcast. If you're a fan of soundtracks, you've come to the right place. In today's episode, Robert, Michael, and I break down some of the soundtracks we've been listening to in the past month. We also speculate on some upcoming soundtracks and what we think they're going to sound like. We also bring back the Guess That Composer game. If you watched last episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, if you like Hans Zimmer, the sounds of Westeros and Game of Thrones, or even the Olympics, you might like this episode. Welcome back to Soundtrack Scores, everyone. I'm here with Robert and Michael, and we're going to listen to some soundtracks today, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite listens from the past month, and just some of the stuff we've all been listening to, whether it be at work, working out, just while we're driving, or any other time. If you've been watching us, you know that we love soundtracks. We love listening to soundtracks, and we love watching movies with soundtracks in them, obviously. But we're not music theorists or anything. We are just big fans of soundtracks, and we know you are too if you're watching this, most likely. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a round table, kind of talk about what we've been listening to in the last month. Robert, do you want to start us off? We'll just kind of go around and then kind of listen to the soundtrack.
Thanks, Steven. So, man, I've got a few, and I had a few surprises this month. Unfortunately, I'm only going to bring one to the table in our podcast today, and I'll start talking about that one. But there were a couple of other soundtracks that came out in March that were pleasant surprises. We'll get to them later. So the one we're going to listen to today is a cover called In This Shirt by the group The Irrepressibles. It's been featured it was written for a movie from the early 2000s, has been featured in one or two since, I believe. And I first heard it actually watching the Olympics. My wife and I were watching the figure skating, and one of the skaters from Norwood, Massachusetts, shout out to them, did his routine to the song In This Shirt as a tribute to his parents that he lost. So it's super emotional. But man, the song itself is gorgeous, but it can be tough listening to words when you're working. And I was like into it for like 2 weeks on repeat. So I found an instrumental version of it by a group called London Music Works. It is really on par with the song itself. I mean, minus the vocals. London Music Works, though, I couldn't find out anything about them and who they are. Really? Looking at their discography on Apple Music, it's clear that they're a cover group similar to Audio Machine, in that vein, Two Steps from Hell, except of course they're more originals. But yeah, if anyone knows anything about London Music Works, drop it in the comments because I would love to learn more about them.
I'm wondering if it's something like Vitamin Street Quartet?
Yeah, they're awesome.
And
exactly.
My wife was watching Bridgerton, and I got into it a bit too, the latest season. And then every season they have the soundtrack is by Vitamin Street Quartet. They're doing instrumental covers of modern pop songs.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I clearly don't watch Bridgerton. However, is the Bridgerton soundtrack Vitamin String Quartet?
I believe so, yeah. Because
I have to feature some of that.
Yeah, because I found them years ago. I remember listening to some instrumental versions, and then I was like, oh, "This sounds like Vitamin Street Quartet." So yeah,
that's amazing.
Turns out it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they were always recommended on Pandora on the Piano Guys channel.
Oh,
the Piano Guys, Vitamin String Quartet, Audio Machine, Two Steps from Hell. They were kind of all similar cover groups on Pandora back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I was listening to on repeat, literally for like 2 weeks straight, nothing else. So that was awesome.
Nice. Something I've been listening to lately, which kind of surprised me because I just randomly started listening to it and I kind of got into it, is F1 soundtrack for F1.
Still have to watch the movie.
I have not seen the movie either, but I've heard it's good. But it's interesting because it's Hans Zimmer, and he also did the soundtrack to another Formula One movie that came out a few years ago, Rush, with Daniel Bruhl and Chris Hemsworth were in that one. But so I'm also bringing a section of part of the Rush soundtrack to kind of compare that with the F1 soundtrack, because it's kind of interesting. They have similar vibes, but they are different. But obviously both Hans Zimmer. But yeah, the F1 soundtrack I've been listening to that at work. It's got some emotional tracks, but it's got a lot of just kind of high octane tracks and just some classic Hans Zimmer action. So it's a good one.
That's exciting.
Nice.
I'm excited to hear the contrast between the two. I'm pretty sure you brought the Rush soundtrack to us way back in the day when we were doing the Soundtrack Scores newsletter, and I remember being impressed with it.
Yeah, very possible I did do that because it's the track I brought is one that I've listened to quite a bit. Like, what have you been listening to?
I've been listening to kind of a mishmash of things. I've listened to the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the Hunger Games film.
Great score.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a huge fan. I mean, it's good, but like, it didn't really do much. Like, it didn't really wow me. But like, and they didn't even. Maybe there's a couple times where the iconic like motifs from the original comes in, but like, if they weren't going to lean into that, I would have hoped they would have something more memorable, you know. But
fair. Maybe that's what I remember more from it is the callbacks to the trilogy.
Yeah. And I do. I have been listening to some songs from the Les Mis soundtrack. You know, the one with Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe. And so I've been re-listening to some of that lately.
Nice.
Good stuff.
A lot of vibrato in that one.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. I love Anne Hathaway's rendition of "I Dreamed a Dream." That is just incredible. I just think it's. I mean, maybe there's people out there who really prefer the the play, but like I personally love the emotion that she brings to that rendition.
That's so interesting because I think I'm one of those people. Ironically, I think Susan Boyle did a really great job from Britain's Got Talent, did a really great job of that cover, and I actually like that version. I think I was expecting that version when I saw the movie, and it's such an emotional scene that I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. But then again, I haven't seen the play or anything, so
honestly, like I can't say objectively one's better than the other because for me it's just a preference thing, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just prefer the very raw emotion in it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I am getting very outclassed here with my lack of Broadway knowledge. I have seen the movie. I do remember the opening piece by Hugh Jackman. Is it 24601? Is that his prisoner number?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
24601.
The piece is called Look Down.
Look Down. That's right. Great piece. Yeah, I do remember that.
Great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Could not tell you the difference between that and the play. Yes.
Awesome. So I know we all brought segments from some of those soundtracks to listen to today. And I also am going to talk about a wild card soundtrack after all this is done.
Excited.
So yes. I'll reveal that later on. But yeah, do we want to get into this?
Let's do it.
We're going to start with Robert's. And Robert, you already prefaced this a bit. This is In This Shirt, correct?
In This Shirt. This is the instrumental version by London Music Works.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Is that a cello?
Yeah.
I love the cello.
2 cellos, I think. There's like an echo.
Oh wow. This slow build is amazing.
Piano in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here comes a drum.
Gosh, I wanted to keep going.
Unless you want to keep listening.
Beautiful.
Okay, yeah, so I have to ask, is that the one where the lyrics are "I am lost"?
Yes.
Okay.
You know the track.
I know the track. Yeah, I didn't know him by name, so that caught me off guard. But that's gorgeous,
isn't it? Gorgeous? And yeah, beautiful. So the slow build keeps building and just becomes epic by the end of that whole thing.
Heck yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
so good. So yeah, I had it on repeat as I was writing, I was working, I was doing everything.
Yeah, that I definitely heard that one. I think in like on social media and edits and whatnot.
Oh yeah,
The
that makes sense.
the lyrical one.
Makes
But yeah,
sense.
that was gorgeous. I love the cello rendition of that part.
hmm
Yeah.
The cello takes the place of the voice, and it does a
Yeah.
phenomenal job. It's not the first time I've seen them use a cello almost like a human voice, and it's so surreal how it works.
It really works well. Big fan of the cello. I believe there's some cello in one of my tracks. I can't remember if it's the F1 one or the Rush one.
Oh, we'll keep an ear out for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited.
Shall we?
Yeah, we can jump into it.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the F1 soundtrack. I picked a track. It's called "Anything You Wish You'd Done Differently," and this one I
Okay.
think is similar in tone to the track I picked from the Rush soundtrack. Just a minute segment from that track. But you guys ready?
Got it. Yep.
Sounds
I'm ready.
good. I love the electronics plus the orchestra. So good.
Feels very Hans Zimmer to me.
Nice build. Yeah. Time to go for a run.
Strings.
Yeah. I want you to remember that Sonic.
I was just getting into it, Steven. It cut off.
I know.
We brought some bangers today.
Yeah, no kidding.
Keep that in mind as we listen to the next one, which is Lost But One, and it's from Rush.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the same movie.
I know.
Good, yeah. Very tonally similar.
Hans Zimmer haters are going to get in the chat. However,
I think this one leans more into the orchestra. You'll see.
it does.
Ooh, I like those strings in the
That
background.
was cool.
Yeah.
There's your cello.
Heck yes.
Beautiful.
That was
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's they're very tonally, I think, similar, but like I said, I think Rush really leans more into the orchestra, whereas F1 leans more a little bit into the electronic more.
Okay.
And it was Rush was quite a few years ago.
Rush was 2013. F1 was
13
just
years
this
ago.
last year.
And F1 was last year. We talked in our last podcast a little bit about the trends and how they evolve and change based on what's come before them and what technology is available. And I wonder if that is something that Hans Zimmer is going to have his own interests that he's probably leaning into at different phases of his career. So I wonder if he's just starting more into electronics. He came out of a rock band, so he's kind of always been into them, I think, to some extent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what am I trying to say? It's not like he's any stranger to electronics.
No.
In his soundtracks either. I'm trying to look. I want to see what else he was doing around this time.
Well, he did Top Gun Maverick also,
Yes.
right before he did F1.
But I'm just curious around 2013 as well. Oh, he did okay, that's actually interesting because he did The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but that actually had some electronic stuff.
Yeah, it had a lot.
And then Interstellar was 2014. So, yeah, he's Hans Zimmer. He does a lot of stuff.
He does lots. Yes. I do love his stuff. Now, that was really a really cool comparison, Steven.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Give the F1 soundtrack a listen. It's fun.
Is Rush also all the way good all the way through?
I'm not entirely sure. I have listened to that track quite a lot. I haven't listened to the full soundtrack in a while.
I'll have to
So
give it a listen.
couldn't tell you, but yeah, be worth a listen for sure. But yeah, moving on to another great composer with James Newton Howard. Michael, do you want to preface this track?
Okay, so this is going to be a hot take, but again, I love James Newton Howard, so let me preface with that. But I'm going to be honest, it was hard for me to pick a track, not because I loved all of them, but because they kind of blended together. I know, very
More
hot
of a
take
wallpaper soundtrack.
Yeah. Again,
it's a shame.
Yeah. So I definitely feel like we could have gotten something more memorable with this. I know it's possible even with sequels, because I know that John Powell did a really good job with that with each of the How to Train Your Dragon soundtracks.
But remember, this is a prequel, so everything is more stripped down in this
right
one. And I will say, for me, the sonic identity of this movie is more the folk songs of the main character than I would say the score.
To be fair, I have not seen the movie. I listened to I think just one of them like thoroughly. It was the because I wanted to hear the Hanging Tree, that rendition of it, and I personally, I mean, objectively, it was great, but I just personally am a sucker for the original one where it kind of crescendos into the soundtrack. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just a sucker for that in general, so of course I'm going to prefer that. That's not a objective comment on the new rendition itself, although my comments on the score are again, hot take.
Everything is more like, this takes place, I think, like 50 years before the other one, so everything, even the Hunger Games arena, is much lower tech and much more stripped down.
Okay
So yeah, anyway,
again, to be fair, I have not seen the movie, so I don't have that context.
Worth a watch. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
So what is
let's
this
give
track?
a listen to Hunger is a Weapon. Let's just listen to the first minute and a half.
That instrument is very Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I do love this kind of music, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
My imagination is colored by seeing the movie, but it does feel very rural countryside, like pastoral.
Mm-hmm.
Appalachia.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, here's the thing: if that track was in the original Hunger Games soundtrack, I wouldn't have said, "Oh, it was an objectively bad track." And again, it's just like there isn't. It's more of the soundtrack feels more, kind of blends together. Again, there wasn't anything that like jumped out at me. And again, this is also, bear in mind, this is me nitpicking comparing to the original Hunger Games soundtrack. So, but again, it's just, I think a lot of it is a preference thing. I just, as a whole, I didn't care for the soundtrack as much.
This is actually an interesting topic that I want to touch on in a minute, but when we segue into the next subject. But Robert,
I was going to ask, is the rest of the soundtrack just sort of mellow with similar sounds? or
No,
what does it sound like?
there's intense parts, and there's some tracks that I felt like were, more intense and everything tonally, but there's nothing that, like, because the original Hunger Games, again, bear in mind the original Hunger Games soundtrack has some very iconic motifs that jump out at me and are memorable to me, and this didn't have any. So my assessment of this one is very much tempered by that fact alone.
I'd be curious because for me, I know I listened to the first Hunger Games soundtrack quite a lot, but I don't think I've ever listened to Catching Fire or the other ones, the Mockingjay soundtracks at all. So I'd be curious. I wonder how much he built on his original themes and those, compared to this.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
They become a little more military as it goes from, into an actual rebellion in the story.
For
I
sure.
feel like they build a bit. There are some really good ones that come into mind, but that the first and the last soundtracks are the ones I listen to the most, and are both quite excellent.
Well, it's interesting because going off this topic, my wild card soundtrack is A Night of Seven Kingdoms.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Very, very different from Game of Thrones soundtrack. Much more stripped down, much more less epic, which is very reflective of the show itself.
I hear it's excellent.
Yeah, it's very good. But if you haven't seen the show, it takes place in a much smaller setting. It's pretty much a tournament and some kind of events that surround that, as opposed to wars for a throne in different realms and all that sort of thing. But it's not Ramin Djawadi. It's a composer named Dan Romer, and there's actually I haven't listened to the whole soundtrack, but I was really curious once it came out to start to listen to a few tracks and kind of compare them to Game of Thrones, because even when I was watching the show, nothing really jumped out at me that felt closely related to Game of Thrones, except a couple times they had a hint of the Game of Thrones theme that would start to play in the background. But it's very interesting because it's very different. But I think that's probably what we needed with Game of Thrones, because it just to separate it somewhat. The one I've got for you is called Quieter Accommodations. It's track number 4.
Talk about stripped down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
Kind of think of the animated Robin Hood.
I was just thinking this is totally a Robin Hood soundtrack. Wow. I mean, the whistling, obviously, and the just guitar plucking.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I really dig this.
Yeah.
Is he whistling something that's meaningful in the rest of the show, Steven?
Not that I remember. I'm pretty sure this is just part of the soundtrack. But the whole vibe is he's a hedge knight, which is like a knight without any land or anything, sleeps under hedges. But he's a good person and he's like a good knight. Really embodies the ideals of a knight. So it's very simple story, but I really liked it.
That is really cool.
Yes, but very different from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, thanks for introducing me to it. I didn't realize they had dropped a full album already also, so I'm going to have to go back and listen.
Yeah, give it a listen. I know we want to talk about some other soundtracks that are coming out this month in March. Do we want to kind of I think we wanted to talk about what we thought the kind of sounds we're going to hear in these soundtracks is going to be, kind of speculate what these are going to be tonally.
Yes, similar to what we did in February. Yep.
What's that?
Similar to what we did in the February podcast. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Robert, do you want to start us off?
With hoppers?
Oh, that was mine. Okay, I guess
definitely not mine.
I'm gonna start us off with Hoppers. I regretfully have not seen this movie yet.
Regretfully?
I do hear it's good. I know it's. Hey, I'm a sucker for Pixar. I have heard it's good. I've heard it. Someone described it to me as it kind of more like Disney animated than Pixar, but still felt Pixar in a
I
way.
could not tell it was Pixar from the trailer. I thought it was Disney.
Yeah. I do appreciate that they're trying some new things. I feel like a lot of the ones that are coming out are going to be sequels, and as much as I would love to see Incredibles 3, I know that's coming out in a couple years. Um, I love classic Pixar when they would innovate and come out with new stuff. But yeah, I've been hearing good things about Hoppers. I do want to check it out at some point. But the composer is Mark Mothersbaugh, who, if I'm saying that right, he's done some Wes Anderson movies, and I'm really curious to hear this soundtrack. I definitely want to give it a listen, just to kind of see if I'm right about this. But um, I'm gonna guess that it has a lot of electronic elements, some kind of I don't. Lo-fi is not the right word, but it's kind of minimal electronic. What I'm thinking of is The Life Aquatic, with Steve Zissou is a Wes Anderson movie, and he did that one. He also did Cocaine Bear, and I've actually listened to that soundtrack, and so I have this kind of feel in mind that I'm thinking he might go for, and it's kind of that minimal electronic, um, not quite lo-fi, not quite like but I guess closer to that side, closer to like kind of the chip tune, but a little bit more sophisticated, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That's going to be my guess. I have liked some of his tracks and some of his the soundtracks he's done. But yeah, I'll be very curious because Michael Giacchino, Thomas Newman, it's a high bar.
Yes, it is. You're gonna have to let me know how it is, and I will give it a listen if you give it the Steven stamp of approval.
Sounds good.
Nice. What do you got? Okay. So we've got a couple other movies that are already out, actually. The Bride, composed by Hildur Gudnadottir. I'm sure I'm probably saying the last name incorrectly, but so The Bride is Maggie Gyllenhaal's new film that she directed with Christian Bale and Jessie Buckley about the Bride of Frankenstein. Watching the trailer, it basically looks like, I'm pretty explicitly Bonnie and Clyde, but Frankenstein and his wife,
or Joker and Harley.
Or Joker and Harley, which is a great segue into the composer, because she did Joker, the one with not the one with Harley, but with Joaquin Phoenix. So she's an Icelandic composer, has done a lot of movies that I have not seen, like Women Talking and Tar with Cate Blanchett. But she also did the soundtrack for the Chernobyl HBO series, which was phenomenal. And her abilities to really create an atmosphere with her scores. My goodness, that was the most intense show I've ever watched, and her score was a big part of it. So I am really curious how she approaches The Bride, because if you watch the trailer, it's pretty over the top violence and just stylistically. I don't think it's doing well in theaters. I believe it's out and it's expected to bomb.
Oof.
Unfortunately.
I've heard
I do have a friend who saw it.
Did he like it? He or she?
She did not like it.
She did not like it. Did she say why?
Yeah. I don't remember. We did talk about it, but it's been I remember everything she said, but
I've heard it's the critics are split exactly down the middle. Some people say it's like really good, and then everybody else says it's terrible. So
you love it or hate it.
It's like polarizing for some reason.
Hopefully we get a good soundtrack out of it, though.
Yes,
that's what I'm
hoping. Yes, we'll have to give a listen to her soundtrack. Just being so atmospheric, which I feel like most of the Icelandic composers were or are. I do very much want to listen to her take, and that soundtrack should be out soon if it's not already.
Because I honestly don't have an interest in seeing the movie, because also we just got like a masterpiece with Frankenstein last fall, and I don't know. I don't really want
to ruin the taste.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I am curious to hear the soundtrack.
Yeah, you'll have to if you give any of it a listen, Robert, y'all gotta let us know how that how that sounds.
Yeah, I'll check it
Definitely,
out.
yeah.
The other one I was going to talk about speculatively, I can speak to concretely.
Okay.
Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, the movie that caps off the incredible BBC Netflix TV show, came out in theaters Netflix style. So it's out for like 1 or 2 weeks. Started last weekend. I could not resist and went to go see it. It was a good movie. I have some nitpicks with it, but all in all, I think it ended the season well, the series quite well. Soundtrack wise, it's Anthony Genn and Martin Slattery. I believe they've done the entire show. And one of the hallmarks of the show, I've never really listened to the show's soundtrack into the instrumentals much, because there wasn't a whole ton of it to listen to. I think the focus is really on the needle drops of really cool tracks, usually like indie rock, folk rock kind of music to go with the Peaky Blinders vibes. If you guys have seen the show, have either of you seen Peaky Blinders?
No,
I have not.
only scenes.
So good.
You know,
So good.
I have no
give
excuse.
it a watch. It's fun. Yeah. It's fun. It's intense. It's fun. I mean, Cillian Murphy's turn as Tommy Shelby is just an all-time great performance throughout the whole show.
Kind of put him on the map, like to the broader
It really
public.
did, as a leading man, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Christopher Nolan always knew about his talent since Scarecrow and Batman Begins. But so the music itself, lots of indie rock needle drops, which are wonderful. But I listened to the soundtrack, and it's quite good. In addition to the needle drops, the instrumentals are they fit the early 1900s historical epic, but also British vibe.
It worked well for the show, it sounds like.
Yeah, it worked well for the show, and I've been listening to a lot of the actual vocal tracks on repeat. So
nice.
It's great.
That's awesome. So so for starters, I want to talk about 2 soundtracks. For starters, Project Hail Mary.
Can't wait to
I'm speculating that it's gonna have because I think it's gonna have a very like almost upbeat, feel good feel similar to The Martian. Like, yeah, that's my guess. I can't really.
I think Steven's looking up the same thing I was going to. Did Daniel Pemberton do The Martian?
Yep.
No, he did not. He did not.
Who did The Martian? Do you know?
It was
Harry Gregson Williams.
Yep. Harry Gregson Williams.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, I feel like Daniel Pemberton, I think he would catch that vibe pretty well.
I agree.
But again, that's really all I can really speculate on. The other soundtrack or set of soundtracks I want to talk about is Wuthering Heights. I listened to both the Charlie XCX album with her music and the score, and I was really impressed.
Really?
Yeah. It was, I mean, the score feels very refreshingly unique, and the Charlie XCX's album has like sonic like it feels like a part of the score, if that makes sense. Like some of the background layers of the music feels like it belonged in the score as well, which I really love.
That's cool.
But yeah, definitely. And there's some really good tracks in there in her album as well. And I'm definitely love both of those albums, which is kind of rare for me to like both a score and the accompanying lyrical album.
Huh. Well,
Go ahead, Steven.
I was just say, if you have any standout tracks, maybe you could bring a snippet for next time.
I think I will. Yeah, because I did really enjoy that soundtrack. Both of them.
What was the instrumental tone like? Because the movie looks hard to judge.
It's heavy isn't the right word.
So it's not Pride and Prejudice.
No, I wouldn't call that heavy.
It's I wouldn't either. I just meant also Wuthering Heights is in the Pride and Prejudice, not canon, but genre, I suppose.
Yeah, but like it's very intense. I it's on the tip of my tongue. Can't think of another word to describe it, but it's intense and heavy in a sense, but it's not really quite accurate. But give it a
Strings
listen.
heavy.
I mean, like tonally,
Okay.
not like
But
totally.
instruments, is it more electronic, or are you getting like solo instruments or full orchestra?
I'd have to really listen, like really analyze to really judge that. I have given it a listen almost like more emotionally, if that makes sense, kind of
Sure.
feeling into it. So I haven't really like listened to analyze it, but I recommend it. It was refreshingly unique.
Check it out.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, you brought up Pride and Prejudice, which is interesting because last episode we asked Michael his first 3 loves of soundtracks, and one of his was Pride and Prejudice. But
Great
this week,
soundtrack.
yes, it is indeed. And I think this week we need to put Robert, you in the hot seat and ask, what are your first 3 soundtrack loves?
Yeah. Mine go before Pride and Prejudice, which was not Michael's first. Lord of the Rings was your first, right, Michael?
Mm-hmm.
So we will come full circle there. So yeah, first, let's see. Man, I was not into soundtracks before I was 10 years old, except for what I thought would be something else. So I was a big fan of dinosaurs as a little kid. Wanted to see Jurassic Park since I was in kindergarten. Was not obviously, but I was not allowed to watch people get eaten. However, a friend had the Jurassic Park soundtrack on a CD. And as a little kid who was not allowed to watch the movie, I was like, this is the next best thing. There's totally going to be dinosaur roars on this album. And that's all I wanted. So I convinced her to either rip me a CD, like back in the day when you would do that, or I borrowed it. I don't remember which one. And took it home and very disappointedly listened to the musical score for Jurassic Park that had no T-Rexes roaring in it whatsoever. So, John Williams, on your next dinosaur movie, please, for all of the little boys out there, put the dinosaur roars in the soundtrack. However, it did start my soundtrack journey. I did come to love some of those tracks. Obviously, the theme is iconic, but there are some other great ones that I wouldn't have noticed had I not listened to the album. Didn't kick off like any kind of, I'm going to go listen to a bunch of soundtracks now, though. So that was a one-off at the moment, but it planted the seed for later. The next seed that was planted came when I was 10 and went and saw Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Heck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah. Gets a lot of hate nowadays in the world. But man, when we were young, this was the movie.
That was peak.
Yep.
It was peak.
Movie I ever saw in theaters.
And it is the first time that I remember noticing the score in a movie when I was watching it in theaters. When, the door opens at the end and Darth Maul is there, and we get and Duel of the Fates starts playing.
Yes.
Like
Let's go.
It is one of the most epic, iconic cinematic moments in cinema history, in my opinion. The music is one of the greatest pieces of cinema music ever written. I mean, you still hear it on occasion, and as soon as you hear that, like, you just get the chills, and you just like start running down the street, right?
We should one of these times. We should talk about the lyrics to that.
Do I know this conversation?
I don't know, but we'll
should
come
bring
back
them
to that another week.
Be very interesting.
I will, yeah, because that's fascinating.
That is cool. Along the lines of the viral video on Instagram right now about the Lion King being, oh my God, there's a lion.
Yeah, it's like
it has two translations, and that's one of them. Yes.
Yes. Well, the two translations are if you think about it linguistically, they are kind of similar. You know what I mean? Like I can see why can translate both ways.
Yes, it's pretty great. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But yeah, so Phantom Menace was the second one, and then soon after that, another story stole my heart in the Lord of the Rings, as Michael brought up, and this is the exact same thing as Jurassic Park. Not the exact. I was not looking for dinosaur roars in the Lord of the Rings, but I was not allowed to watch the films when they first came out. I think you guys feel my pain there.
Yes, I did.
So
we
the
had to
next best
bargain
thing,
some years off
naturally, yes, we did. Years off your life, years off watching the movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next best thing was to get the soundtrack, of course, and listen to the story in music form. And this is where I mean, Howard Shore wrote an opera for these 3 movies that really tells the story in a way that I don't feel any other soundtrack has ever been able to capture for me. I'm sure there's some just absolute love bias for this thing. But yeah, I listened to it on repeat growing up, just all of the many heroic and epic and mythical and personal motifs and themes that he weaves through the soundtrack are life-changing, I would say. Truly.
100%.
So yeah, those are my 3 first soundtrack loves. And I will say the Lord of the Rings soundtracks got the seeds that were planted by Jurassic Park and The Phantom Menace truly growing, and I haven't stopped listening to soundtracks since.
Wow.
Neither have we all.
Truly.
I also not stopped listening to that soundtrack as well.
Or that one. Always go back to that one.
100%. Well, those are some solid takes, Robert. Solid soundtracks. In fact, The Phantom Menace is actually the first movie I remember seeing in theaters.
Yep.
I was
Nice.
like 6 years old or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say if I was 10.
Pretty young, probably too young, but I do remember seeing that one.
Never too young to watch that lightsaber fight. I will hold. I don't know if it's a hot take, but that is the best lightsaber fight in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, hands down.
100%. Do you know how many lightsaber fights that inspired in our house with our fake lightsaber? So, we used to reenact that whole scene. So,
Oh yeah.
Solid.
Oh yeah. We even chopped Steven in half a few times and put them back together.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. I think we're running out of time a little bit here, but I want to move on to our final segment. If you watched the last episode, you know
we got embarrassed.
Yes, we had money on the line for Robert and Michael because I brought a mystery track.
Oh no.
And so the same rules apply this time. There's $15 on the table here, and I brought a mystery track from early in a composer's career. And all that Michael and Robert have to do is guess who the composer is. They get 2 chances, 1 minute to guess it, but every second that goes, they lose a quarter. So they lose money with every second. And if they guess it in 30 seconds, they're going to get $7.50. If they guess it at 1 minute, they get $0. And if they guess it right away, they get the 15. So, without further ado, if you guys are ready,
as I'll ever be,
let's cue up that mystery track.
All right.
And I'm going to get my timer ready just in case you guys guess it so I can calculate how much money I have to shell out.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh my gosh, it's Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yep.
Oh, Michael.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Is it okay? Wait. Is it Rain Man?
So, no, it's not. I think you got that in like 5 seconds, by the way, Michael. So,
okay.
It sounds just like Rain Man. That was my immediate guess.
It does.
It's actually really interesting story. So, it's not Rain Man. It's a movie called A World Apart, and it came out before Rain Man.
Wow.
The director of Rain Man was looking for someone to score his movie, Rain Man, and his wife heard that soundtrack on a CD and thought, you need to hire this guy.
Oh my gosh.
This literally was an inspiration for Rain Man, which Hans Zimmer later did.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
I was hoping to be a little bit harder than that, but I figured it'd be.
But I mean, I did not know that little like tidbit that was not Rain Man.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. So I didn't hit the reset just the lap in time, but I believe you guessed it in 5 seconds.
Awesome.
So what is that? $13.75. All right, I will sell you $13.75.
All right, Steve's gonna come back.
I feel like I've redeemed myself from last time. Last time was embarrassing.
Yeah, but no, that was really, really good.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
It's kind of cool too that he was inspired there and then did something similar in Rain Man. It reminds me of the gladiator motif into Pirates.
Yep.
Indeed. Yeah. So yeah, that was
Very cool.
our mystery track. I'll bring something else next week, and
Awesome.
hopefully I'll keep more of my money.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for watching. We have a lot of fun doing these. If you have any soundtrack suggestions, drop them in the comments. If you have, just let us know what your favorite soundtracks are. Anything you've been listening to in the last month, anything you're excited for, anything you'd love for us to check out. And until next time, we'll be listening to soundtracks over here, and we hope you will too. We'll see you later.
Cheers.
See ya.